Alright, it's almost here. Bow season. It's less than 3 weeks out. And I have been out doing some looking. I've been looking for some food, acorns. I've been looking for buck sign. I found a little bit of both. I think it's going to be pretty good. There's quite a few acorns in this place right here where I've been looking, scouting today. They're still hanging on tops of the trees. I've been hearing a few fall, but don't let early season pass you by when it comes to bow hunting. Even though it's hot, you got ticks, chiggers, and mosquitoes that won't leave you alone. It's a good time to go out and get on a big deer. I'm gonna keep looking in here for another hour or two and go check the trail camera that I hung down here under the hill, but I've got a video for you that I want to show you. It happened probably, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, and it was a hunt like no other. I shot at 3 big bucks in one day. I shot at a 14 point, a 12 point, and an 8 point, not in that order. I shot at the 12 point first, and then I shot at the 14 point just right after I shot at the 12. And then at 2 o'clock in the day, I shot about a 125 to 130 inch 8 point. 2 o'clock, third day of bow season. I don't know if it's been quite 6 years ago. It was probably maybe 4 years ago. But anyway, I got in there and it was raining that morning, and I'd already jumped one of those bucks. I think I jumped one of them going in there the first day when I was going around the side of that steep hill where I was going in there to hunt. But it was kind of a transition. There was some pine that came off, and the pine stand ended, and there was a big contour up there where it drops off, and it kind of a backbone point that goes down into a saddle. I was right there above where the pine transitioned into the hardwood, and the ridge kind of transitioned into that little contour right there where that little lip came around the hill. It's kind of a unique place. There was a double bluff line in there, and I was just about 80 yards above that double bluff line. And there'd been a buck in there probably the 2 previous years. He'd worked the same scrapes. I mean, those scrapes were always opened up real early season. But anyway, I got in there and I got me a stand hung, and I think I jumped one of them going in the first morning, but the third morning it was raining, and I went in and hunted when it was raining. And I got all set up, didn't have my camera gear set up because I didn't want to mess it up, so I kind of left it in the bag. And it never stopped raining. 11 o'clock is when I saw the first buck. It was that 14 point. And I'd been hunting him for a couple of years, and I actually had sheds off of that deer. But anyway, I heard a deer sneezing. I don't know if you ever heard him sneeze. I heard it sneeze behind me. It was about 11 o'clock in the morning, raining, dripping, and I kind of figured it would be a buck. I turned around real slow. It took me about a minute to turn my head, and I looked, and there he was, about 40 yards, standing right behind me. And he wouldn't move. He was just standing there. Well, while I was watching him, there was a 12 point below me that I didn't even hear come in. He walked right underneath me and started horning a tree, horning a bush. I think it was a beech tree, and just thrashing it. And I remember looking down through those limbs, and I could see he had a forked G2 on his left side, and then had a split eye guard and 10 on the frame, and probably 18 inches wide, 12 point. All right, I'm gonna shoot that one if they give me a chance. I mean, I wanted the 14, but I couldn't pass that deer up. He was right under me. That deer right there got through horning that tree, and he started walking towards that 14 point, and I could barely get down to shoot. I had to squat down nearly in the stand with my butt touching the platform to even shoot. And finally he come through a little opening. It couldn't have been more than 18 steps. I shot, arrow hit a limb, went right down his side, just barely even, I mean, didn't even scrape the hair on him. Probably didn't miss his shoulder that much. It just hit a limb and went straight left. Deer didn't know I shot at him. There was rain falling. There was stuff falling out of trees, little pieces of bark, dead limbs. He had no idea. 14 point didn't know either. So he just kind of bristled up, started walking towards that 14 point. And then he ended up going off the hill, and the 14 point stood there for another 5 or 10 minutes. Well, he turns, and I draw on him, and there's one opening, probably about this wide, to shoot through at 40 yards. And I was confident I could kill him, and if he stopped in that hole, and he did stop in that hole. So I pulled back, and I'm in full draw, and I'm kind of fighting my safety strap on the tree to get around to shoot at the angle I was shooting. And he stops right in that opening, and I let it go, but right when I did, I just creeped a little bit on my bowstring and shot right underneath him. Missed both of them, the 12 and the 14. But anyway, 2 o'clock, it dried up a little bit, sun came out. I sat there all day, but it was 2 o'clock. I heard something down the hill kind of coming up that backbone. It was off to the side of that little backbone point, but I looked down the hill and I just seen a dark rack kind of straight up to me. And it was the 8 point. And I thought it was one of those bucks, but it was a totally different deer. And he comes up, comes in behind me, and at this point, I'm just filming with my cell phone, with my iPhone. I still had my camera put up because it hadn't, I mean, it was wet. Probably 30 minutes before I shot that deer. But anyway, he comes up and I'm just filming right here. You can see my arm, and you'll see it in a minute in the video. Comes up around me in circles and gets about 25 yards at one point, and I just was going to wait until he went on around and I could get a good broadside shot on him. He was kind of quartering at that point, and anyway, he comes around me, stops right there at a black oak tree, or just past the black oak tree probably. I'm going to guess it was like 24, 25 yards. I shot, he ducked the string. I'm going to say that much. You can be the judge in the video of how much he actually ducked. And it hit him more. It looked like a pretty good hit, but when he took off there, I just raked through the brush. And right down towards that double bluff line he went. And I waited about 20 minutes, got down out of the stand, had good blood. Definitely hit high and long, but it was just too high. I just got a little bit too high up in that shoulder lung area, and I tracked him for probably, I don't know, maybe 60 yards over that bluff, and then jumped him. And around the hill he went. Went back in there the next day, looked for hours, never found him. And he survived. He came back, I don't know, probably in December, and worked the scrape that I had a camera on. I had him on camera. Had a hole about, I'd say the very upper third of his lungs and maybe about 2 inches forward. That's where the hole was. So I'm gonna get back scouting, see what I can find for this season. I'm getting kind of pumped.